Why do good people die early? The truth you've been searching for in Scripture. My child, come close. Closer than your thoughts, closer than your breath. I have something to tell you, something many have longed to hear, but few have dared to listen for. You've been carrying this question, haven't you? It's been lying heavy beneath your smiles, surfacing in your quiet hours, whispered in hospital rooms and cried out at gravesides. Why do good people die early? You look at the world and wonder at the injustice. The gentle-hearted grandmother who raised generations with grace, gone too soon. The child with laughter still echoing through the house, suddenly silent. The friend who stood by everyone, who gave and gave without complaint, taken while the selfish, the cruel, the indifferent remain. You say it doesn't make sense. You say it's not fair, and you're right to ask. You've asked with anger. You've asked with tears. Sometimes you've asked in silence because you were afraid I wouldn't answer, but I heard every time. And now I answer. Listen carefully, not with your ears, but with your spirit. I am not far away. I have not abandoned you. I do not delight in your pain. You ask why the righteous seem to fall while the wicked flourish. Why the kind are cut down before their time. Why the hearts so full of light are the ones the darkness seems to reach first. You ask as if I have not seen it, as if I do not weep with you. But I have seen, I do weep, and still my ways are higher than your ways. Still there is more to life than what you see. You see the beginning and the end. I see the whole. You count years, I measure eternity. You grasp the moments, I hold the meaning. And sometimes, in this great mystery, I call the good home early, not because I am cruel, but because I am merciful. Not because their life was wasted, but because their purpose was fulfilled. Not to hurt you, but to prepare something greater, both for them and for you. I am not in the business of breaking hearts without reason. Every life I shape with care. Every departure I orchestrate with purpose. You think you've lost them. But they are not lost. They are found, fully, eternally in me. And though your eyes cannot see past the grave, your spirit can begin to glimpse the truth if you let me show you. So come, let's walk together. Let's peel back the layers. Let's talk, just you and me. I have much to tell you, much to reveal. I want you to see death not through the lens of fear, but through the light of my love. I want you to understand what you've been aching to understand. I want to answer the cry of your heart. And I will. Stay with me. Part 1. The veil between life and eternity. My beloved, I see how your heart clings to what you can touch. That's what life has taught you, to hold tightly to what you can see, to fear what you cannot explain. But you must understand, there is more than what your eyes perceive. There is a veil, unseen but very real, stretched between your world and mine. It is thinner than you think, like a breath on a mirror, like the hush between a heartbeat and silence. One moment a soul walks among you, the next they are with me. You call it death. I call it transition. You see a departure, I see a return. The life you live now is not the full story. It is a preface, a flicker of light before the sunrise. And while you are wrapped in the temporal, I dwell in the eternal. I do not measure life by years lived, but by purpose fulfilled. A life well lived is not always a long one. Some souls walk this world briefly, but leave an impact that stretches far beyond their days. Do not confuse length with worth. You say, it's too soon, and yes, from where you stand it feels that way. But from where I stand, there is no such thing as too soon. There is only appointed time. You quote Ecclesiastes without realizing how deep its truth runs. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. I set that time. I do not fumble. I do not forget. I do not take one breath more or less than what is perfectly measured in my love. You don't see the evil that would have come had I not intervened. You don't see the weight some hearts were never meant to carry. You don't see the rescue when I call a soul home early. You see an end. I see a beginning. I see my child running into my arms, free from the pain, free from the burden, free from the limits of the flesh. And I receive them with joy, even while you grieve with sorrow. This does not mean I do not grieve with you. Oh, I do. I collect your tears. I sit beside you in your loss. I comfort the mourning. But I also rejoice when my children return home, because the veil between us is not a wall of cruelty. It is a doorway of completion. You are looking at the veil, trembling in confusion. But if you saw what lay just beyond, your sorrow would not vanish, but it would soften. You would understand that my hand never moves without purpose, that when the good die early, they are not abandoned, they are fulfilled. So, trust me, when the world shouts unfair, when your heart whispers why, remember, I am not a God of chaos. I am a God of order, of timing, of eternity. And my clock does not tick like yours. I see the beginning and the end in one breath. I know the number of every hair, the rhythm of every heartbeat, the moment each soul will cross the veil, and I am there on both sides. Stay with me. There is more I want to show you. Part 2. The earth is not the reward. You've built lives here. Careers, families, homes. You've poured your heart into relationships and wrapped your dreams around this world. I understand. I created this world with beauty and wonder, and I gave you hearts to love, to build, to grow. But hear me now. This place, as precious as it feels to you, is not the final destination. It is not the reward. It is the road. The problem is not that you love the earth, it's that you think it's all there is. You've been taught to believe that dying young is losing everything. But in truth, it is often gaining everything. When my saints die, they do not fall backward. They step forward. They do not miss out. They arrive. The world is not their prize. I am. Remember what I said in Hebrews 11 about those of great faith. They confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. They desired a better country, that is, a heavenly one. Therefore, I am not ashamed to be called their God, for I have prepared for them a city. They knew this earth was not their home. They were passing through. Their reward was me, not their years on soil that fades. And yet even now, you grieve as though death were a defeat, as though good people leaving the world early is a tragedy I overlooked. But my son, the one you call your Savior, only walked the earth in flesh for 33 years, not because his time was stolen, but because it was fulfilled. His death was not premature, it was perfect. You see the wicked live long and the righteous fall young and cry, injustice. But have you not read, the world was not worthy of them? The ones who leave early may have already completed the mission I gave them, even if you didn't see it. Some are called to plant seeds, not reap harvests. Some are called to sing one note that echoes for 1,000 lifetimes. The worth of their life is not in the time spent on earth, but in the eternity they stepped into. Don't cling so tightly to what was never meant to last. You build monuments in time when I have prepared a kingdom in eternity. The good who die early are not forgotten, not overlooked, not cut down. They are brought home to a country where time no longer steals and death no longer separates. Yes, grieve. It is natural to mourn what you no longer touch. But do not mourn as if they are lost. Do not grieve as if their story ended. Their chapter on earth has closed, but their book continues in glory. Their death was not an accident, it was an arrival, and one day you too will see what they now see. One day you'll understand why they had to leave when they did. One day the pain will lift, and all that will remain is peace. You are still walking the road. They have reached the home. The earth is not the reward. I am worth every tear, every goodbye, every mystery you have yet to understand. So hold on, not to the illusion of permanence, but to the truth of my promise. Eternal life is not someday. It begins the moment a soul comes home to me. Part 3. The refining of the righteous. There are moments, I know, when it seems the kindest hearts carry the heaviest burdens. The ones who shine brightest often suffer most. And when they are taken early, it can feel like injustice upon injustice. But my child, what if I told you that some of the purest souls are not left to endure the full weight of this broken world because I love them too much to let them be crushed by it? You see suffering as a curse, but I see it as a refining fire. You wonder why the righteous are not shielded more, but I tell you, they are not abandoned in their trials. They are being purified for something greater. I do not waste pain. I do not delight in watching my children suffer, but I use what the world would call tragedy to shape eternal glory. Isaiah 57:1-2 whispers a secret most overlook. The righteous perish, and no one takes it to heart. Devout men are taken away, and no one understands that the righteous are taken away to be spared from evil, spared, protected, rescued. You pray for safety, for healing, for a long life, and sometimes I answer by bringing them home. Not because I didn't hear your prayer, but because I answered it in the highest way possible. Some storms, my child, are too fierce for a tender soul to walk through. Some evils waiting just ahead would destroy what I have cultivated within them, so I lift them out. You call it loss. I call it mercy. But even more than sparing, sometimes their short life was the furnace needed for their refinement. The ones who are good are not immune to suffering. They are often called to it. Why? Because through that pain, their spirit becomes more like mine. Through their trials, their compassion deepens, their love grows, their faith sharpens. These are the ones who will shine like stars in eternity, their hearts having been tested and found faithful. You must understand that righteousness does not guarantee ease. In fact, true righteousness often walks through fire. But that fire does not consume, it purifies. And when I see a soul that has completed its refining, I do not leave them in the furnace. I bring them home. Their work is done. Their race is run. So when you ask why the good die early, know this. Sometimes their journey was simply complete. Sometimes they were being spared. Sometimes they were refined more quickly, more deeply than others. And in all these things, my hand was never far from them. I do not allow 1 ounce of suffering without purpose. I do not take 1 life without love. Every righteous soul that leaves early was already ready. Heaven is not a punishment. It is the release from the fire, the final unveiling of what I have been shaping in secret all along. Let this truth rest in your heart. I do not break my beloved, I refine them. And when they are ready, I do not leave them here. I welcome them to glory. Part 4. The Witness of a Short Life. There is a voice in the silence that follows a good person's death, a presence that lingers in the air, stronger than before. Have you felt it, that strange sacred echo, that tug in your chest that says, this mattered? They mattered. That is not just memory, that is testimony. Some lives are not long, but they are loud, not in words, but in witness. You see them gone too soon, but you miss the trail of light they leave behind, their kindness, their love, their laughter, their sacrifice. These things ripple out far beyond their final breath. Their death does not diminish their impact. In many ways, it amplifies it. My son's life in the flesh lasted 33 years, yet for over 2,000 years, his name has changed more lives than any who have walked the earth. Not because he lived long, but because he lived fully and died meaningfully. His death was not the end of his influence, it was the beginning of it. In the same way, I use the lives of the righteous, even short ones, as living sermons. Sometimes a child teaches more in a few precious years of innocent faith than a scholar teaches in decades. Sometimes a mother, quietly loving and selfless, shapes generations with her example. Sometimes a friend who battled illness with joy leaves behind a legacy of courage that transforms how others face their own pain. You ask, why take them so soon? But my question is, do you see what they left behind? Because sometimes the message of their life was never meant to unfold across decades. It was meant to shine like a flash of lightning, illuminating everything in a single moment. They are witnesses. Their lives speak. Their deaths shake others awake. Some of you did not pray until you lost them. Some of you did not forgive until grief taught you how fragile life truly is. Some of you did not change until their absence demanded it. That is not coincidence. That is testimony. Their short life becomes a seed, and you, those who remain, are the soil. Their legacy grows in you. Their light continues through your choices, your actions, your voice. They are gone from your sight, but not from my purpose. I am still using them even now, so don't say they are forgotten. Don't say their life was cut short. Say this instead. They lived the story I wrote for them, and now their story is writing you. And let that truth transform your grief into gratitude, your confusion into clarity. They did not live long, but oh, how they lived well. Part 5. The timing of the master. My child, timing is everything. Every leaf that falls, every wave that crashes, every breath you take has its moment. You count time by clocks and calendars. I measure it by completion and purpose. And so when someone good dies early, it is not early to me. It is exactly when I called them. I do not make mistakes in timing. I am never too soon, never too late. You wonder why I let some live to 90 while others barely see 20. Why the one who is healing hearts with kindness disappears, while the one wounding others remains. But you only see part of the picture. I see it all. I see what was, what is, and what could be. I see every domino, every consequence, and I act at the perfect time, always. Consider my servant Enoch, a man who walked with me so closely that I took him, not after a lifetime by your standards, but in the middle of it. Why? Because his time was fulfilled, not by age, but by intimacy. He pleased me. His journey was complete. You would have mourned him as lost too early, but he was simply called home on time. And what of Stephen, the first martyr? A young man full of faith, bold and bright, stoned in the streets while still in his prime. Was he taken too soon? Not at all. His death shook the early church and pierced the heart of a man named Saul, who would become Paul, the apostle who helped carry the gospel to the ends of the earth. Stephen's death was not wasted. It was woven. You look at lives and say, it wasn't their time, but it was. If I called them, it was. You do not see the danger I spared them from, the struggle that would have crushed their joy, the hidden mercy behind the moment. You do not see the doorway I opened for others through their passing. You do not see how one loss can awaken 1,000 lives. So trust me with time. I hold it in my hands, not as a tyrant, but as a master craftsman. Every second is intentional. Every life has a set course. Some flames burn fast and bright, others slow and steady, but all are held by me. The flickering candle, the roaring fire, I am Lord of both. And remember this, not all who live long are living well, and not all who die young are cut short. The measure is not years, it is fruit. It is love, it is faith. Some complete more in a few short decades than others do in a lifetime. Some were never meant to stay long, but to ignite something eternal. So when you lose someone good and wonder why now, come back to this truth. It was not too soon. It was not too late. It was my time, and I do not miscalculate. Part 6. The Battle Unseen. My dear one, there is a war raging around you, an invisible battle between light and darkness, between my kingdom and the forces that oppose it. You don't see it with your eyes, but your soul feels it. It whispers in your deepest griefs, shouts in your quiet questions. You feel the tension of a world not as it should be. And in that war, some of my strongest warriors are called home early, not in defeat, but in honor. You must understand, the good who die early are not casualties. They are victors. Their race may appear short to you, but in the realm of the spirit, they ran straight and strong. They fought well. They finished well. I called them home not because they lost, but because they won. There are forces that hate purity, that despise kindness, that rage against hope. The enemy of your soul seeks to corrupt what is beautiful, to crush what reflects me. And sometimes in my great mercy I shield the good from further harm by removing them from the battlefield. Not as a retreat, but as a reward. You mourn a child lost young, but what if I saw the storm coming for their life and chose to lift them out before the waves struck? You grieve the passing of a leader or a healer, but what if I saw the enemy circling, planning a blow that would destroy more than just them, and I said, no. Enough, come home. Do not confuse my protection for punishment. The enemy takes lives in cruelty. I call lives in sovereignty, and when I take one of my own, it is never out of weakness, it is out of wisdom. What looks like an early death may, in truth, be a divine rescue. And yes, I also use death as a weapon against the enemy. What he thinks is a victory often becomes his defeat. He thought he silenced Stephen, but the gospel thundered louder. He thought he destroyed my son, but resurrection shattered his grip on death forever. The enemy never understands that when my people die, they are not falling, they are rising. Rising into glory, into power, into eternity. There are victories you cannot yet see, generations transformed by a short life lived well, marriages healed because someone watched faith endure cancer. Entire communities awakened because one young soul radiated hope in their final days. The enemy loses every time I turn mourning into purpose, every time I use death to bring life. Every time a good person dies and their legacy points others to me. So don't believe the lie that evil wins when the good die. It does not. I win every single time, and if you could see what I see, the crowns they now wear, the joy that surrounds them, the battles they helped win without even knowing, you would not say they were taken too soon. You would say, well done, just like I did. Part 7, The Glory That Awaits. Now come closer, child. You've listened with tears in your eyes, questions in your heart. But lean in a little more, because I want to show you something. The end of the story. The glory that makes every sorrow small in its light. When the good die early, you see absence. You see a chair that's empty, a voice that no longer answers, a future that now feels hollow. But here's what I see. My beloved running into my embrace. My child finally hearing, well done. The heavens opening not with silence but with celebration. They are not lost. They are not sleeping. They are awake in a way you cannot yet understand. Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints, Psalm 116:15 says. Precious, not tragic, not wasteful. Precious. Because when they leave your arms, they fall into mine. And I don't greet them with sadness. I greet them with joy. You do not see the banquet I've prepared, the welcome that shakes the heavens, the inheritance waiting that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no heart has fully grasped. But I see it. I see the eternal reward of those who loved deeply, served humbly, and walked faithfully, even if only for a short while. And when I receive them, there is no sorrow left in them, only light, only peace. Some of you cry, but I needed them. And I know you did, but sometimes I let them come home because I needed them more, needed their voice in the great chorus of saints, needed their presence in the kingdom they helped build with every act of love, every prayer whispered in the dark, every sacrifice unseen by others but deeply known by me. You are not being punished by their absence. You are being entrusted with their legacy, and I promise you this, one day you will see them again. Not as you remember them in their last days, but as they truly are now. Radiant, whole, alive. You will embrace again. You will laugh again. You will worship side by side in a kingdom that has no clocks, no pain, no goodbyes. That reunion is not a wish. It is a guarantee, sealed by the blood of my Son and the truth of my word. So do not live in fear. Do not wonder if I've abandoned you because someone good was taken from your world. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. I have never failed to keep my promise. Death is not the end of the story. It is the opening of the final, eternal chapter. Let the memory of the good who are gone stir something in you. Let their short life awaken your long one. Let their courage inspire your obedience. Let their love soften your hardness. And above all, let their faith point your eyes toward me. Because what they now see, what they now know, you too will one day experience. Not just for a season, but forever. Conclusion. I am still good. My beloved, if you've heard nothing else, hear this. I am still good. Even when the good die young, even when the answers don't come, even when the grief is fresh and raw and unrelenting, I am still good. You see a fallen world and cry out for justice. I see a redemptive story unfolding. You see a casket and call it an end. I see a gate to glory and call it homecoming. The pain you feel is not wrong. I do not scold your tears. I do not rebuke your sorrow, but I call you to trust. To rest your weary questions in the truth of my character. I am not cruel. I am not careless. I do not make mistakes with the lives I create, the souls I love, or the timing I allow. Yes, the good sometimes die early, and yes, it hurts. But that does not mean their life was wasted. It does not mean I failed to protect them. It means I brought them home when their work was done, when their race was run, when their hearts were ready. And as for you who remain, there is more for you still. You are not forgotten. Your pain is not invisible. I am with you in the long nights, the empty rooms, the quiet ache. I walk with you. I speak to you. I promise you, this world, with all its losses, is not all there is. One day, every wound will be healed, every question will be answered. Every tear will be wiped away by my own hand, and in that moment, you will look back and see that I was good all along, that even when you didn't understand, I was weaving redemption through every thread of pain. You will stand beside those you lost. You will know fully what you now know only in part. And you will see, not just with faith, but with sight, that I was always worth trusting. So breathe, believe, and hold on to this truth. I do not abandon the good. I crown them, and I do not forget you. I carry you. Until the day you too come home, and all things are made new.